Yes, us. What happens when you take two vibrant brothers that are descendants from the Greeks in Constantinople, embracing their American roots, and then ask them to serve up rich tales of traditions, cuisine, childhood memories, and a hearty dose of humor? You're about to find out. This is Baklavine Banter, your passport to all things Greek. Comedy out to a generation that is not familiar because you didn't grow up with it. But I can also see, because people like to hide behind walls, hide behind social media. But I can also see the negative
Sure.
folks coming out and giving you crap, which, to your point, blocking them and not giving them the time of day is probably the best way to go.
I just don't want the negative. That's the one thing that always killed me. People who are
Yeah.
negative. If you're a negative nanny, I just don't want you in my life. I have cut off friends who
Mhm.
I love them, but I have cut them off where like I would work on a project. I also develop television shows where I sell the conceptual ideas to networks
Mhm.
and to, you know, companies that want it, maybe for whatever reasons. During the COVID era, I punched up scripts. That was one of the things. I
Mhm.
punched up scripts. So I always had a lot of ability to be able to do certain things with my career. It didn't matter. I wasn't just a stand-up comic. I was a voice actor. I wound up punching up scripts. Whatever. Um, I'm very, very proud of the work that I've
Right.
done. I wish I could tell you that everything that I touched turned into gold, but that would be BS. It just doesn't. Sometimes you have an
Right.
idea, you think it might work, and all of
Nothing
a sudden you
gained. Yeah.
realize,
Mhm.
it didn't work as well as I
Yeah.
really wanted it to. And it's okay. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? You got to give it
Yeah.
a shot. So,
Yeah.
I've had great success on certain things. I'll never forget when I did the Growing Up Greek in America. I said, you know what? I'm going to do this show, and I told my wife, and I was like writing down material, and there was a friend of mine, um, and she was a real sweetheart. She goes, let me help you put the show together. And of all
Hmm.
places, it was
Uh-huh.
in Warren, Ohio, and it was the first one that I ever did. That was the one with a green shirt on and everything,
Mhm.
and I wound up doing it, and it was Growing Up Greek in America, and out of Warren, Ohio, and it was called Comedy with Zumi. Okay,
Mhm.
uh, I didn't know what else to
Uh,
call it. It was Comedy with Zumi, and then
Uh-huh.
the second one was Growing Up Greek in America, live from Boston. And the third one
Okay.
was Growing Up Greek in America. And we did that one, Greeks Gone Wild in Montreal, which, by the way,
Sure.
is still to this day the largest Greek
wow.
concert ever in Montreal.
Really?
We had over 2,000 people at that show.
Wow.
And it was it was a great success. It really was.
Yeah.
There are certain things that I wish I could tell you everything that I touched was great. No,
Yeah.
again, that'd be BS.
Yeah.
You are going to take some of the good with the bad. But I'll tell you what, I've been so blessed with the things that I have done, maybe Greek or otherwise. We just went to a new management company because they want me
Mhm.
now to finish up and
Wow.
write some scripts.
Yeah.
And one of the scripts that I
Okay.
wrote for a film just got optioned, and I'm very excited about it. And it's a story about my grandfather. And I wrote a
Nice.
movie script, and then I wrote another movie script 15 years ago that got optioned. Just one after
Wow.
bam, bam. One is gritty and rough. The other one pulls at your heartstrings. And I never knew that I could write drama, but I can.
Mhm.
And I'm really kind of good at it. So as soon
That's
as this
awesome.
one guy, and they're pretty big in the industry, in the movie industry, and he says, "Can we
Uh-huh.
see this?" I said, "I don't know if I want to share this with you because this is a story about my family." Next thing you know, they called me back a day later. Says, "We want this script," and I'm like, "Okay, let's
Yeah.
talk." And we finished negotiating and put together an option deal. So we're very, very excited. And now we're trying to find the right director to go ahead and direct it.
Mhm.
Um, and it's one of those things, man, that I really love doing, again, what I do. And my mom used to tell me something, and it's so true. Love what you do, and you'll never work a day in your life.
Absolutely.
And it's so bloody true. you know?
Yeah.
And I tell that to everyone, to the young who are watching this. Remember that. You may not be
Mm-hmm.
the richest person doing it, but love what you do and you will be you'll never work. I love when I wake up in the morning. I say, "Oh man, I got to do this, this." Yeah, there is work involved. You got to send out this. You got to do
Mm-hmm.
that. You got to take this. Blah, 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 blah. You got to switch your life around a little bit to get things done. But you know what? At the end of the day, I could be digging a ditch, and trust me, I have, and it ain't
Mm-hmm.
fun. That was real
Yeah.
work. And that's why I have so much appreciation to those people, our dads, our grandfathers,
Yeah.
our great grandfathers who dug that ditch, who wound up working in the kitchen, in the restaurant, and all that. To do what? To give us an opportunity for a better life, for you to be able,
Mm-hmm.
Pete, to go ahead and sit on board with the work that you do,
Mm-hmm.
in pharmaceuticals, with
Yeah.
you, Terry, working in AI and being an IT master. Okay, look, they gave us that opportunity, and
Absolutely.
that's the greatest thing that you could ever ask for.
Yeah. It's the greatest gift that they could ever give
Absolutely, no
us.
two ways about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and it's what keeps us humble in the long run as well, because you got, you can never forget where you came from.
If you do,
You know.
then you're lost as an individual.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If you
You know.
if you do that.
Absolutely. Thinking about going back to your comedy, is there anybody that past or present
I would just
comedian
add to that,
that you would
were
have loved to
inspired
work with?
by, whether they're Greek or not, just because of their approach, their thinking, their mindset, and so forth through the years.
One of the funniest people, I never got a chance to meet him,
Mm-hmm.
but I remember playing his albums over and over and over again, and I still have them all. And my father, back then we didn't have, we had a hi-fi where you put the LP on, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and my father would find me at 5 o'clock in the morning, passed out in front of the stereo,
Yeah.
and I would laugh my
Mm-hmm.
ass off. Richard Pryor, to me,
Sure.
was perhaps
Yeah.
the funniest storyteller um, that there was. When he would do characters like Mudbone and then talk about who he was and the way he
Mm-hmm.
grew up, and he became a wonderful actor. And that's what I'm hoping now too, is to be able to go into that stream of being able to act. Now that my kids are grown, I have that ability where I can go
Mm-hmm.
ahead and act and actually be that guy who can be a Greek, an Italian, an Arab, whatever the case is they want me to play.
Sure.
Um, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that ability. Richard Pryor is the one who, he was just so
Mm-hmm.
bloody funny. And
Yeah.
he had his issues with drugs,
Mm-hmm.
and which is sad. But you know, the guy was just hysterically funny. And I don't know if I could ever be as bold as he was on certain things, but
Sure.
man, I'll tell you why too. Because look what I do
Yeah.
and who I work with. I work with the Greek Orthodox Church around the world, not just in the United States, but around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you use certain language to make everyone laugh? And then at the same time, you got to go and see, El Foros the following
Mm-hmm.
day, was the Archbishop of the United States, who's going to be the heir apparent, right?
You're right.
And how do you sit there and you have words coming out of your mouth the day before, and all of a sudden you kiss his hand? Really? Yeah, it can't do that, you know. Um, but
Right.
so you always gotta, you gotta. I wish I didn't have to worry about that. Even my wife, Basil, you shouldn't have said that.
Mm-hmm.
My wife's an Elinida because again,
Mm-hmm.
it's a law, and yeah, every girl that I dated that wasn't a Greek was a Butana. I don't know how the hell that worked, according to my dad, they're all Butanes. I said, well, what about Mary Ellen? Yeah, Butana titi Maria. What about Sharon? Butana titi Sharon. What about Gina? Butana titi Gina. But Maria, who had the worst reputation in church, bravo, Elenidina, bravo, exitora. And I'm like, really? 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 Okay. So that, to me, I mean, you always had to remember, um, how you had to be careful as to how far you
Mm-hmm.
went because of who you are on the personal side. And
Sure.
that's the one thing that kind of perhaps made me better as a comedian, but also
Mm-hmm.
kind of restricted me as well.
Right.
So.
Now, we know comedians always talk about the legacy that Richard Pryor has left, because so many people, uh, he inspired so many other comedians. But for you personally, um, what do you want your legacy to be? How do you want to be
Oh,
remembered?
wow. That's a damn good question. I suppose going back to an answer that I gave you with all these letters that I have, the 6 folders
Mm-hmm.
of cards that I helped change people's disposition and help made them happy to forget their doldrums and their sadness.
Mm-hmm.
I may not be a household name throughout the world, and that's cool. I can live with that.
Yeah.
It's got to be what's in here. I hope people every time they said, "Do you remember that comedian Basile?" And wow, that guy was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
why, he made us laugh every holiday. Do you know how many emails I get during holidays, especially during Thanksgiving and Christmas?
Of course.
Emails, people coming to me and say, "Oh my God, we just saw that damn video, the first one that we saw. It's still the funniest damn thing I ever saw." And we saw, oh my God, that video that we saw, that Montreal video, Greeks Gone Wild. Oh my
Oh
God.
boy.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're cutting my 4th actual Greek special, of all places, in
Nice.
Tarpon Springs, Florida.
Oh.
And, I wanted to do something special. So
Yeah.
I'm already working on this. That'll be in December. And we already have the
Okay.
crew together and planning to do this. And it's going to be special. It's going to be a lot of fun. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, I'm really looking forward to do the 4th one. I don't know what we're going to call it yet. Um,
Uh-huh.
you know, um, again, just blessed that people remembered me. Their kids
Yeah.
will come up to, who are now adults and married, who says, "We used to watch you all the time. Thank you. I learned my Greek from you." And as soon as they tell me that, I tell them, "I am so sorry. I really am
Yeah.
sorry. I don't know what to say. I apologize." And I look at the parents, signomi, signomi. But when it's really, what turns me on more than ever? I do these things called
What's that?
cutaways, right? And a cutaway
Mm-hmm.
is when they have the camera on the audience. And the thing is, you have the kids, you have the parents, you have the grandparents, and if you're lucky, sometimes even the great grandparents. And they're all laughing at the same thing at the same time. That turns me on more than anything you'll ever know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without having to say the F word, or without having to
Absolutely.
be whatever. There are some comics, Greek and otherwise, who will say the F word every other. Yeah. How do you say that at a Greek show? I just don't understand. And some don't give a crap. They really don't. Me,
Mm-hmm.
listen, if
Mm-hmm.
the word shit slips out, okay, shit happens. Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
but it, to me, is just, I just enjoy being with the crowd. But when you have 4 generations, typically you get 3, but man, it's really cool when you have 4,
Yeah.
and they are laughing. And you got a papu who's in his 90s laughing at the same bloody thing that his 10-year-old great grandson is
Mm-hmm.
laughing at. I don't know about you guys, but to me, I've done my job.
Oh yeah.
I hit
Yeah.
4 generations in one joke, and it was funny. I imitate my yaya picking horta in the middle off of 495.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, and they close the windows. It's late July, early August, I'm in a
Yeah.
Cadillac, Brougham Cadillac, right? And my mom rolls up the windows with, God forbid, Vasilaki gets oxygen to breathe while they're picking horta, and I'm dying of heat exhaustion. Okay.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Yaya's bent over, Sovrakar is showing. She's like, doing
Yeah.
all that. She's got the stockings knotted up at the knee, very sexy. I can see why Papu hung with her all those years. And I just sit
Yeah.
back and I'm like, you got to be kidding me, and I would always laugh. The woman always wore black. She goes, "Napas sto closet, na mo feris to mavro fustani." To mavro, they're all mavro fustani. And then, which one? Yeah, number 28. Ah, you numbered them. Beautiful. Okay. So, and even my papu is a tiforas mavra. And she would go, perimeno. Really? You're waiting for the man to die? Okay. So to me, that was the fun stuff, to be able to go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
I always joke about my grandparents, and I'm Icarian. I'm from the island of Icaria, which is the Greek blue zone where people live to be in their hundreds. And I always
Mm-hmm.
joke with people. I said, my grandparents are old. Oh my God, they're old. My yaya is 106. My papu is 105. They talk about the will. We don't know why they're never going to die. We've tried everything to kill them. They won't go down. Even, yaya says, taparo baño. Let me get the toaster. Hold on. Anything that I could do. The woman literally would drive me crazy, but I was her favorite because I was the only grandchild out of all my brilliant cousins who are nurses, who are attorneys, who are engineers, you name it. Some of the most brilliant people I've ever met, right? And who's the only one who's telling dick jokes is me, right? I'm the only one
Yeah.
telling these jokes. And my, I just, for me, listen, man, I go crazy with my people, but yeah, I was her favorite because I was the
Yeah.
one who would sit down and drink that Elinico Cafe with a paximadi that she made, which is perhaps the
Of
hardest
course.
substance known to man. I mean, I
Uh-huh.
used to laugh because I would go, oh my God, NASA is experimenting with paximadi for the re-entry so the rocket won't blow up as it was re-entering, the
What?
atmosphere. And I'm like, you ever eat a paximadi? Hoodies, well, coffee is like, and I go,
Yeah.
todonimo.
Yeah.
Because they
And
were
she
also
goes,
made
"Ina
like a year
calor, dejo
prior,
ya
because
se
nothing gets
tipo da
thrown out
natuganis
Yeah.
deep."
either.
You know,
Because
I'm
that's
like,
the other
God
dynamic. They
forbid you
go in
get
Yeah.
the
something
little
to
the
dip it
little
in. Yeah.
tin,
So,
right? It's like Greek entity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I th-
yeah.
I think the I think the only thing harder is those stale peeps at Easter time.
dude, dude, when we would get our candy, right? First of all, because mom was, if our Easter was late, right? They'd never go and buy a basket when it was on sale before regular Easter because
Of
these
course.
people would put away the baskets as soon as the day after Easter was over. Easter
Oh yeah.
Monday, they ship them put aside somewhere so they can sell them next year at full price. I got the Easter galvanized bucket, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it had the green crap that they put in there, that plastic straw. And I
Yeah.
got, it took me 20 years to realize that chocolate bunnies do have ears. I
Oh
always
yeah.
got, honestly, I had no clue. The always
Yeah.
got the broken chocolate bunnies. And it was always so one year my mom forgot she was hiding the chocolates, and I love milk chocolate. I can't stand dark chocolate, but I love milk chocolate. So she hides the milk chocolate in the trunk of her car. By the time I got it, it was the Easter bleh. I had no idea what the hell it was. I knew it was some type of an animal because I saw an eyeball that kind of melted by the ass of whatever this thing was.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there looking at, by the time Peeps, you mentioned Peeps, by the time we got our Peeps, I could break windows with the
Yeah.
goddamn things.
Absolutely.
They were the hardest substance known to man. The only thing I love
Yeah.
doing with old peeps
Yeah.
is I put them under a
It's like
fire,
napalm.
right? And I literally, like a marshmallow, they are delicious that way. I'm telling you, dude. My mom and dad thought I was a pyrotechnic genius when I came up with this. No, watch this, and it
Yeah.
was delicious,
Well, this year, remember, Easter was 5 weeks after the regular Easter. It was Cinco de Mayo, and the week before Easter, I was out in Arizona, so we went to CVS, and they had this little section of Easter candy that would look pathetic, but I'm like, it's Cinco de Mayo. I'm buying a freaking pinata, and you know what? Color it blue and white, put a Greek flag pinata, and there you
It was
go.
the most beautiful memory you ever had in your life.
Absolutely.
The Scotosis, the mulari puinikin. It's like a little mule, and you're going to hit it with the hammer. Dude,
Yeah.
I loved everything there was about Easter, but my favorite
Yeah.
thing that I loved about Easter every year, and soon as the agape service is over, I run outside and just watch because of women trying to bring home the fuss, right?
Oh yeah.
Bringing home
Oh yeah.
the fuss. And the women have it in
Yeah.
their coats and they're literally screaming at their husbands, God damn it, move your ass, Jesus Christ, let's go. You're just at
Yeah.
church. Actually
Yeah.
celebrating the Anastasi, and they're screaming, God damn, and I am laughing,
Yeah.
watching. They got the candle. They got the candle in their coat. The husband runs, opens up the door. He opens up his side, and all of a sudden you hear the wife, turn up the goddamn air conditioning, for God's sakes. Gee, you want the fuss to blow out? What the hell's wrong with you? And then these people, it doesn't matter where you are in the United States, it's 3:00 in the morning. They're driving
Oh yeah.
home in New York. They're on 495 doing 80
Oh yeah.
miles an hour. And the only
Yeah.
thing truck drivers are seeing is a dark car passing them with a candle lit inside. And these truckers have to be going, oh my God, be careful. The Amish are driving. That was the only thing I could see, right? So I'm like, holy God. That to me was the most hysterical thing to watch. Is after the
Yeah.
holiest time to watch the Anastasi and having these women scream at their husbands to bring home, so they can bring home the fuss in one piece.
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite thing is this year it was on Cinco de Mayo. So, the night before, it was pretty mild on the East
Sure.
Coast for Easter this year. But yet, I maybe you could help me understand this. Okay? It's like 65 degrees outside, Good Friday, you're walking outside in the procession. But I gotta wear my fur coat. Gotta wear the guna,
You're right.
with the
It's like
7-inch
at least
heels,
it's St. Andrew.
because that's what Jesus did. Because
Well, the first thing he said, is anyone, he's the poor man, hands are bleeding. He's going,
Does anyone have a fur coat? Any? Just maybe a Roman soldier have a fur coat. Anyone? Anyone? Pontius
Hilarious.
Pilate, do you have a fur coat? No one. Okay.
to me, what we used to do, and it was terrible. We would always look for the woman with the craziest beehive hairdo.
Sure.
And our job was to pick whose hair was going to burn first. And we take that. We're loading up. We're off to the side. And then, okay, I got $20 on Maria. Tia Maria, she's going to get her hair burned. You got $20 on it? $20, I'm telling you. And they were all doing better. Once in a while, I'd win. I'm like, holy crap, I had literally won. Someone burnt her coat or what. Listen, it's the most. You are giving a child of 5 years old a candle. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? There's more aerosol in this thing than there is in the atmosphere. Yeah. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, my kid, and now I'm not a good role model, because after a while you're standing, you're going, and that my candle's burning, and I'm starting to make little wax animals,
Mm-hmm.
sit after a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of my favorite jobs is to carry the epitafio. I didn't do it this year, but I do love carrying the epitafio. And
Yeah.
so my son-in-law is 6'4". He's got about 2 inches on me. So my son-in-law is 6'4". And I said, I'll tell you what, brother, it's your turn. The priest asked you to be one of the guys. You go ahead and do it. And he's just a great kid. And he's a nuclear engineer and smart. I
Wow.
told my daughter, I said, just don't bring me a dumbass. We only have a slot for one. That's my job. I don't need the competition. I'm the only dumbass in the family. So he's a nuclear engineer for General Electric, and he carried the epitaphial for the first time. And he was like,
Nice.
"What an honor that was,
Wow.
Ed." And I said, "Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
great honor, and I'm glad." And he just got
Yeah.
chrismated, before they got married. So he was,
Nice.
he was Irish Catholic and loves
Wow.
everything about Greece, loves everything about
Mhm.
the Greek culture, loves the warmth, the tenderness that we have for each other, the closeness that we have. And
Mhm.
he'll call up, and he knows I'm a huge football fan, and I
Yeah.
follow the Browns and the Jets, and he gets me Browns and Jets paraphernalia. If you look at my office, I have, Cleveland Indians stuff from the last time we won the World Series in '48. Cleveland
Mhm.
Brown stuff all over the place. So, this is like my office is separate from my home. So I basically have to, drive about 10 minutes to get to my office. So I
Got it.
never
Got it.
wanted to, because it would drive my wife crazy, because I get phone calls all hours of the night, from
Yeah, I can
Australia and
imagine.
from South Africa and from all over. And it's, after a while, it can be a little bit more. But now we've opened up where I'm going to be wind up going now to different parts around the world doing my American show, or my general audience show, as I refer
That's
to it.
awesome.
And that
Awesome.
allows me to do certain things, which I really look forward to be able to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, we're butting up against our time here,
You
Basil,
kidding
but
me? I have no time. Okay. Go ahead. You were saying.
but well, it's called the more time we spend on here, the more post production is. But
You're going to edit this
uh
beautiful work that we just did, for God's sakes.
no, no,
No,
no, no,
let
no.
me tell you,
But
it's always been fun,
go
man.
ahead. No, I really I like we said to you before we went on, we can't thank you enough for coming on the
Oh,
show. Your comedy has made us laugh over and over again. Um, and the one part, and we're talking about copycats, but I have to say, in my personal life, the one 30-second skit that you do, or part that you do of a larger skit, that I repeat over and over again is, the Greek Orthodox Church is the only church in the world that can resurrect Jesus twice in 1 year. That that is perhaps the most funniest thing, because I'm like, the regular Catholic Easter, that's just rehearsal. He comes out of the tomb. Okay, great jobs, everybody. We'll see you next week. Next time we'll use real blood.
Yeah.
That was just the pomegranate juice that we used this time
pomegranate
around.
juice.
But no, with all seriousness, from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate you. We appreciate your time. Um, Keep doing what you're
Thank
doing,
you.
because maybe you don't need this, but you do touch people's lives, and you do make people's lives a little bit better with the laughter that you bring into everybody else's life.
Well,
So we really
that
appreciate
it
it.
means a lot to me, Peter and Terry. I'm sorry that it took so long to get
Yeah,
back to you.
like I
Like
said to
I
you, don't worry,
said,
don't worry. It's
but
okay. It's okay, because
it's just,
timing is
yeah,
everything.
and it was just one of those things. But I'm so glad that I did. I mean, I always get interview requests all over the place, and I just love the baklava and banter. I just love the title. I started laughing. I'm like, all right, let me see what these guys are up to, and then I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and answer. And I'm like, and I'm glad that I did. And to be honest with you, this was a lot of fun to do. Um, I love the ability to go ahead and share serious stories and share funny stories and share a little bit of
Mhm.
material. This is the way an actual interview should be conducted.
Right.
It's I love hearing about your successes as well, and I'm sure people who follow you love it. So I've been blessed to have people like you follow me, and now I'm going to follow you because I like these types of shows. They're to me, it's something that we need to bring our people together. We need,
Absolutely.
sometimes you'll have, oh my God, we got 6 Greeks and we have 9 different opinions. We don't know what the hell to do, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, listen, if you all get us in one group, we are the most
Hmm.
powerful, most well educated, strongest, faith loving individuals in the world. That's the God's
Yeah.
honest truth. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, um, I have friends of mine that have been friends since we were kids, since we were babies. My cousins, the love that I have for my cousins are like my brothers and sisters.
Hmm.
And friends, I maintain a long friendship with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And sometimes my manager would say, "Man, you can't talk to everyone." Or if I sign autographs, they would get upset because I would sign autographs to everyone. And they said, "Come on, we got to go." And I'm like, "No, these
Hmm.
people are in line. I'm going to sign their
Hmm.
shirts. I'm going to sign their cards. I'm going to sign their tickets until
Yeah.
the last one leaves." And they go, "Why?" I said, "They paid money to see me. I can't sit there and give them a signature. Hell, I'm only using one name, Basil. It's not like I'm using my
Yeah.
whole name, Basil Katsikas. That
Yeah.
I can understand. But, and
Yeah.
what a name, by the way. You guys have great names. Mine.
Listen, but you're really the
I
goat,
am
though.
the greatest of all time. Not so much. True story. Okay, so we're playing ball, college. Everyone puts a piece of tape on the top of the crown of their helmet and tells you your name, Katsikas. So we're getting hose juice, which is actually known as the hose with the water. And all of a sudden, this guy comes up and he goes, Katsikis. And I go, "Yeah, what's your first name?" I said, "Basil." He goes, "Vasily?" And I go, "Oh, you're Greek." He goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, that's funny." He says, "Yeah." He goes, "Billy Goat." And I go, "Yeah." And I look at his last name was Kunelis. And Kunelis. And I was like, "What's your first name?" "Peter." And I start laughing. Peter Rabbit and Billy Goat. And I'm like, dude, we're never going to get laid on campus with these names. You do understand that,
No.
right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it was a lot of fun, dude, to be on the show,
Yeah.
and it'd be an honor to come back. And hey, listen, for
We're
all your listeners out there, you can always find out where I'm on tour. You can go to Basil Live, BASILELIVE.com. You can check us out
yeah.
on the social outlets on Facebook and Instagram at Basil the Comedian, and follow. And then you can also catch us on X. As well at Basil Comedian. And hey, there's also ways to get a hold of me. You can always reach out to me anyway, and I try to
Yeah.
answer everyone's emails as much as I can, and emails and messages and stuff that you send, because I love hearing from all of you. Gentlemen, thank you so much for having me on your show.
But Basil, let me just tell you one quick story, real
Sure.
quick. Is it true? I read a couple of things um that Steve Harvey pretty well.
Oh, God. Hold on. We started together. Miastimi. We did.
Because here's my thing. So when I was in
Right.
Thessaloniki, I met my uncle and my cousin that I've never met
Right.
before. So it's Theo Fortis and his daughters, Dora and Sophia, and Dora has 2 kids, Anna and Forti, named after her
Right.
father. So I went to visit him. My wife and I, we had a lovely time there. So I go ahead and show him a photo of my 2 brothers and me. And young Forti looks at the photo and looks at my younger brother Stavros, and he goes, "Do you know who he looks like?" And I go, "Who?" Now, if you remember the old Hawaii Five-0 episodes with Jack Lord from the
Sure.
60s, there was a character on there named Wu Fat,
The enemy, the
who
guy
was
who's always the bad guy.
right.
Wolfat.
He was always the arch enemy, right? Now, some people say my brother looks like Wu Fat because he has a goatee, bald head. So this 12-year-old Greek boy, okay, in Thessaloniki looks at my brother's photo and says, is that Steve Harvey? And I literally rolled over. Now he's 12 years old. He looks like he's 16. But the fact there he is in Thessaloniki and knows who Steve Harvey is, let alone says that my Greek brother looks like Steve Harvey. I literally felt, and then his grandfather and his mother are like, who's
Ποιος
Steve?
στο διάβολο ο
Ποιος,
Σταύρο
who's this?
Χάρβη
Yeah,
στο
Steve
διάβολο.
Harvey. Who gives it? And my wife is like, Family Feud, and I'm like,
That's
"Tak
funny.
sarno to Family Feud, though."
Jesus Christ.
So anyway, you're gonna say
All
about
right.
Steve?
So I was in law school and
Yeah.
working for a major law firm in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
And Steve and I were open micers going up
Okay.
and whatnot. And this is, I hope you can see it. This is our first professional gig. It was me, Steve
Wow.
Harvey, and a comic named AJ Jamal. And I hope you guys can.
AJ Jamal,
There you go.
move to the right. Holy crap, man! Wow. What year is that?
This is 1986.
Wow. You're like
I
12.
was 12. And
That is so cool.
yeah, I got to feather my hair again like that. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Hold on. And then this is my first actual headshot
my
that I
God.
did.
That is
Okay.
funny.
Let me see if I can.
Move it.
The centerfold of comedy. All right, hold on. And this was my first. Hold on. Well, here's a shot back in the, I guess, late 90s.
Oh, wow. Oh, Ducky, he looks Greek.
There's no two ways. Listen, I'm still a stud muffin, so I don't give a crap what you guys think. So, and then this is our first Showtime when we did Showtime together.
Wow.
With
Holy
a good
Yeah,
friend
yeah.
of mine, Mike Veneman, who passed, the
Yeah.
great late Mike Veneman. That was me, Steve, and Mike Veneman.
Wow.
Yeah. We,
That's awesome.
yeah.
If
Yeah.
I can, hopefully you can.
Yeah, that's
Can you
great.
see that at all? I don't know if you can see
Yeah.
that pretty.
We can work it out post production.
Okay. So that was, that was the funny thing is, yeah. So Steve and I, there was a couple of TV shows that we're trying to go through, and Steve's company wants to pick one of them up of the shows, and I'm like, well, let's see, because there's another show, and we're trying to negotiate a deal with CBS, and
Okay.
but the thing is, really want to, because you got to give up a lot when you deal with a network.
Yeah.
You give up the name and give up this and give up that,
Yeah.
and then you're hoping to get
Yeah.
back end. And if you get back, and what happens if the show sucks and it gets canceled? You're not going to get Scott out. But at
Yeah.
least you'll wind up getting X amount of dollars up front, whatever you work out in the deal. So it was just one of those things that sometimes it's sometimes difficult to try and figure out what's the best thing that you can possibly do, to be able to create that magic, to find that right show and what everyone's looking for. So the conceptual
Yeah.
show right now, there's another one, and we're hoping that Fox will pick it up
Mhm.
because they like the various shows that I've been pitching. And so,
Okay.
again, like I said, I just don't sit on my ass doing nothing. If I'm not on stage, I'm writing. If I'm not on
Yeah.
stage, I'm doing voice work. If I'm not on stage, I'm doing something that's going to be able to and I want to get more into the space of
Yeah.
getting more
Yeah.
stuff online, but I want to do it creatively. If it's not creative, I don't want to do it. If it's crap that
Yep.
people have already done, why the hell would I want to do that? I don't
Yeah.
want to sit there and imitate other people. I want to be Basil. And this is a Basil centric type of production that people can really
Yeah.
get into. That's the thing that I really
100%.
enjoy. That really
Yeah.
excites me, to be able to do that. And if you can do that, like we broke, man, all types of, where we made everyone go crazy when we first started with Growing Up Greek in America. We want to do
Mhm.
the same thing, but do it for everyone, not just those who are Greek centric and love them, but for everyone.
Sure.
Yeah.
The Greeks
Yep.
have a wonderful, positive reputation around the world.
Yeah.
When you hear Greek, first thing you're going to hear, oh my God, those people at the Greek festivals. Oh my God, the Greek pastries. Oh my God, the Greek food. Oh my God, that one restaurant we go to, the owner is so sweet. Oh my God, it
Mhm.
always has something positive. Very
Mhm.
rarely is it a negative thing. If you
Mhm.
say Italian, the first thing they're going to say, oh my God, the pizza guy. Oh my God, the mafia. Oh my God. It's going to have some type of negative connotation somewhere in the top
Sure.
3 or 4 or 5 things. The Greeks, listen, we are some of the most brilliant. I'm not saying me personally, but we are some of the most brilliant individuals, highly educated,
Yeah.
very successful,
We've
hardworking,
joked
and we do
sometimes,
our
Mhm.
thing.
Basil, that being
And that's
Greek
why I'm
feels like
Yeah.
you're
proud of the
part of a
people
secret
who we
club,
are.
because over
Yeah.
the years, depending on how you speak, and we talk about it all the time, traveling and going someplace, people usually think, me personally, that I'm
Oh
Italian
yeah.
first before they ever say Greek. But when you go someplace where you, like a Greek restaurant or a diner, you have to pronounce the words. I can't mispronounce them. I only know them one way. Once once a Greek figures out that you're Greek, it is like
Yeah.
the craziest
Yeah.
experience. It's-
Exatefe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exatefe.
And I tell the story. My wife and I were in Paris a few years ago, and we're not big fans of the French food.
Paris.
So I say to her, I said to her, "Hey, listen, I found a Greek restaurant.
In
Let's
Paris.
go check."
Bravo.
Yeah, and I said, "Let's go." How bad could it be? So we walked down, and it was down this like dark alleyway, something out of a Hitchcock movie. And we find it. We go inside, and it's very themed, like you're in Mykonos or something like that. And we sit down. They give us menus, and the waiter comes, and I start ordering in Greek, and he goes, "Είσαστε Ελληνές?" And I've been, "Nah," and I get that question, "Από πού είσαστε?" So up in Constantinople. Ho, ho, ho. Basil, food started coming. We didn't order. It just started coming. And I didn't order anything. And and the table and the guy like and my wife is like, I said, "Shh, let it be, and then finally, the calamari, the octopodi, we're gonna do all that. We had a phenomenal
Beautiful.
meal, and the guy's thanking us like, "Thank you." I said, "No." He goes and he asked where you're from, and he's like, "Oh, I came from New York." And they said, "Oh my God, you came to Paris, and we came to Paris, and we found their little restaurant, and they were so appreciative that out of all the restaurants, we came to them."
That's great.
And it was like, and at the end of the day, it was like, I'm his nephew, and they treated us like
Right.
family, and you can't really say that. And I say it over and over again. You really can't say that about a lot of other nationalities. It may happen, but not as a common theme that happens all the time.
No, it's so true. My dad was always open to people, always loved everyone. And it was
Hmm.
so funny. If my dad had an issue with someone, dad would, you know, dad would say things that I misunderstood. For years, I
Hmm.
misunderstood. And because my father didn't like people who were braggadocious and people who were full of
Right.
crap or whatever.
Hmm.
And my father, and I was a kid, my father goes, "Ti keftedes echi aftos, eh?" And I'm a kid going, "Echi keftedes."
Δεν μυρίζω κεφτέδες.
And I look around, every time it wasn't until I was like 14 years old, I realized what my father was saying. What a setup,
Yeah.
what balls he had to do that.
Yeah.
Ti keftedes. So I finally came up with a concept for a new T-shirt. It's real
Yeah.
simple. It's not a party until my keftedes come out. So so I
Wow.
literally I did it for my dad because my father laughed when he realized that I really didn't know what he was talking about when I was a kid. He goes, "Ti keftedes ekeftos, study you know," and I'm like, "Keftedes," you know, and I love keftedes, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
So do
my
I.
God. You know, you give me keftedes, I'm your boy. I'm your little,
Yeah.
oh my, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, to me, it was always a lot of fun, you know, talking about pop and, you know, doing that crap. But with the keftedes, I'm
Yeah.
like, Jesus. But
Yeah.
you reminded me of that because everyone, my father would go crazy. Um,
Yeah.
my dad had the restaurant, and so many actors and actresses would come by, going on their way to Southampton, who lived
Sure.
there, and my father had no clue who it was. And one day, you know, a guy comes in. It's about 10 o'clock. Dad was already closed. The guy's knocking on the window. He's like, "Can we go?" My father, "Yeah, we're closed." Please, you know, the guy. My father says, "All right." He was mopping. He opens up the door. "Come on in. I can get you a sandwich." The guy goes, "Okay." Closes the door, locks it up. You know, start talking a little bit. He goes, "Hey, thank you so much. You know, I live in Astoria, but I'm going back and forth. You know, next week, same guy, same time, knocks on the window, and guy goes, he goes, did we that time? So, come on in. You know, my father still had the grill open. He goes, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna
Okay.
still throw some shish kebab on there for you." They're doing ba ba ba. And all of a sudden they start talking. He's Italian. My father's Greek. They start talking about different places. My dad was a merchant marine. And, but, you know, next thing you know, third week, same thing. You know, this time the guy goes, "Hey, Zane, listen, I'm having a party. You know, why don't you come over on Saturday night?" And, you know, he goes, "Yeah, I see that. Well, this is where I live. Come on by." Southampton really wasn't that far. My father goes to
Yeah.
Southampton after a closed shop. You know, goes there. My dad's wearing his, you know, his aspra, smelling like a fried cremidi. Walks in there,
Yeah.
he's looking around. He's got his little, you know, my dad lost his hair when he was like in his late 20s, and he would get so pissed off at me. He goes, "What the
Yeah.
hell? You," then I, you know, my dad is 5'4", lost his hair, all that. And here I am, 6'2", and all of a sudden, you know, all this crazy hair that I have. And my father was just finally listening. He goes, "You're not my son." That's what I'm going to say. I was saying, okay. So dad winds up going back and forth. Dad comes home at 4 o'clock in the morning, comes to the house. My mom like freaks out. "Where have you been? I was worried sick about you." "I went to a party." You know, "Where'd you go to a party?" "Southampton. I was invited to go to a party. I went. I got lost a little bit coming back, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Jesus Christ, you know, who were you with?" He goes, Anthony. Gee, who the? I said, "Listen, Zacharula, that was my mom's name." He goes, I tell you, he come to the restaurant on Monday morning, and all of a sudden, okay. Comes to the restaurant. There's my mom and dad. They would open up at 5 if there wasn't a big order from the
Okay.
Grumman's or whatever. And my
Uh-huh.
mom's there. They're doing their thing. I was still at home. I was sleeping. My Thea was taking care of me. And it's now about 6:30 in the morning. Who is it? Tony Bennett walks in, right, into the restaurant. And all of a sudden, my mom's mouth gapes open. He's like, and my father looks at Dina. He says, "Look, it's Tony Bennett." Goes, "Who the hell's Tony Bennett?" "That's Anthony." "Anthony? Who the hell's Tony Bennett?" He had no clue. And all of a sudden, my mom looks at him and she goes, aren't you Tony Bennett?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You know my husband?" "Yeah, he was at the party the other night," and blah, blah, blah. And my father is like, "Who the hell are you?" And all of a sudden, my mom goes, she goes, "Give me a dime," or whatever it was back then, puts it in the jukebox, a quarter, and plays one of his songs that was on there. And all of a sudden, my father's listening to the music, and my mom comes home and goes, "That's him singing." And my father looks at him. He goes, "Anthony, that you singing?" He goes,
Wow.
"Yeah." "Hey, you sing pretty good." You know, he didn't know who it was. Here, this guy is this multi-talented singer, and it was Tony Bennett. So he goes, and my father, he thought he saw like Rock Hudson was there.
Wow.
My God, there was so many actors and actresses, but he didn't know because my father never watched. The only thing my dad and I watched together was Candid Camera.
Yeah.
Great. That's a great story.
That's all he wanted to watch with me because we die laughing with that crap. Anyway, guys, it was a pleasure. It was an honor to be on the show with you. I'm glad we could share these great stories, and hopefully,
Thanks, Basil. We really appreciate it.
everyone who's
So for anybody, I'm just going to pitch this for you. So if anybody's in the Myrtle Beach area, July 1st to the 7th, Basil will be in Myrtle
it's called the
Beach.
Comedy Cabana, and I'll be there, and it's always a packed house. So if you're going to come, make sure you call and go to Comedy Cabana, check out for tickets. And you guys, again, if you'd like to go ahead, check out our website at basillive.com. If you guys want to do fundraisers, if you want to hire me for shows, if you're international for tours or whatever, you're going to have to go through my management, but you can always start off with me. You can email me, go to our website, or follow me, like I said, over at Basil the Comedian, Basile.
Mhm.
Put an E at the end of that, and make sure you contact us. And I'd love to hear from all of you.
So for Baklava and Banter, I am Petraki. He is Sotiraki.
And I'm Vasilaki.
And Vasilaki in the middle here. So once again, Basil, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We hope to have you on
You will.
again sometime in the future.
No two ways about it.
And to anybody who's watching, please follow us, subscribe to us, and please leave your comments below.
Thank you.
Once again, Basil, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you
God
soon.
bless you all. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much.